Happy today. I am William Brown from IamWilliamBrown.com. This is Disconnect to Connect, One Word Conversations. One Word Conversations is um, a self discovery, relationship building conversation. So it's a way that we can just see how we think of things, learn some more things about ourselves. And, you get a new friend out of it, right? You kind of strengthen your relationship. I think too often we look at our words and we say all these lovely words, but all it takes is one word that will cause a connection or a disconnection. And so in this conversation, I explore one word and seeing how it lands, and so we can connect. One way that I spotlight what's available at IamWilliamBrown.com, the store, is our U cards. Our U cards are intention setting cards. I use this to set the intention for the conversation, and it's a game. So go to IamWilliamBrown.com, the store, to get your U cards. So the cards that I picked for today is I am seen, you are grateful, and I think you should just do it. As you can see, I'm out and about at our community pool today. I just needed to get outside to do this show. So, you know, I think I'm in that space. It's like, hey, let's just kind of do something. So, this is the moment where I invite you to like, share, ask questions, do all those things to let me believe that I am not talking to myself and that there is a value here. So, with that in mind, I am going to introduce our word, dedication. Dedication. What does that mean? How is that landing for you today, and how is it landing for me? So, as I do, I invite a guest in, and we have a conversation. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, William. Thank you so much for having me today.
Oh, this is great. This is the moment where I invite my guests to introduce themselves however it feels comfortable.
Thank you again for having me. So, my name is Claire Yanta-O'Mahoney, and I help women transform their bodies and their relationship with their bodies through fitness, nutrition, and mindset coaching. And I am here today to talk about dedication, talk about my the work that we do, and see how this conversation goes. So, um, as I mentioned, I'm a trainer and nutritionist. I have a master's of science in psychology, and my work is dedicated, this word will come up a lot, to helping women feel their best so that they can go out and do the magic and the work that they are meant to do.
So that's great. I sometimes I do these words, I pick these words randomly, or follow my intuition, and so it feels like dedication is a big part of your work. So how does dedication land for you?
It lands in a really important place for me in my life. So, dedication is something that I I bring into so many different parts of my life and my day. Um, I think that dedication is what motivates us to continue to show up
Hmm.
for ourselves and for the people that we care about, and that what motivates us to do the things that we are meant to do. And I think without dedication, we can end up feeling lost. We can feel confused. We can feel like we may not have any value to share.
Hmm.
And I think we can end up just really being in a place where we're not fully alive. So I think that dedication allows us to feel alive.
Right.
I think it really
Well,
does.
I totally get that. I've mentioned on the show a number of times that I've had an unhealthy relationship with consistency, and I think sometimes that's how dedication shows up to me. For me, is that I got to do it no matter what, right? There's got to do it just because I said so, and I think I'm starting to feel like the healthier I get around being consistent um, and doing things, stay in action. And the sun is moving or something, so I don't know if I'm going away or anything like that. It seems like there's this
You
big
look
shift
great.
that happens.
You look
Um,
good.
but it it feels like that dedication is more connected to my values or my purpose, and it's not just the act of being consistent. There is this connection to a why, to a purpose, and I think that's how it lands differently for me. Is that how I can stay committed to dedication?
I think so. And I think you made a really important distinction. And the way that you were talking about dedication is a way that involves more grace and still allows for discipline to be part of the equation, but not to a point where there's um, a goal of perfection. And I think that perfection, when we start to really get wrapped up in that construct, that's where we can feel that if we make one misstep, then it's like, oh, we throw in the towel. And in my world, I see that so much in the fitness and nutrition and mindset world. So I love that you were talking about being connected to this why. And it might mean that I'm still absolutely dedicated to the goal, but today may look a little different. My pathway to get to this goal might look a little different in this day versus that day.
Right.
And that's okay. Giving yourself that permission to be a human that feels differently, has different energy levels, has different commitments and tasks. I think it's just a more peaceful and graceful and realistic way to really embody dedication.
Right. I think, and I really appreciate that, because I, like, many people, and you probably some of your clients, there is this shaming that happens around, our fitness. When we say that, hey, I'm committed to get in shape, or I'm committed to do all these things, but then, I have a donut, or I don't show up at the gym, and all that other kind of stuff. And it's like, and it's, I've been working hard to really connect my, I guess, my spiritual enlightenment to, and connecting it to my body, if that makes sense, is to really have a higher level of understanding how I show up for my body instead of just my mind. So my fitness takes on another form. So being dedicated to really um, look at the activities around, I guess, just being healthy, right? And like you said, some of your work too is around mindset. Is that really a large part of being dedicated to being fit? Does that happen in the mind?
I think that's really one of the pivotal places where we have to take action and transform, because if we are doing something for just the extrinsic benefits, like just to look a certain way or to achieve a certain, like, oh, I ate these things today,
Right.
that motivation will only get you so far. It's more about what you're talking about, going deeper and thinking about, I'm honoring my body, which is my home. I don't have good control over anything else in this world, any other person, any other thing but myself. So if I can take care of this vessel, because this vessel, this physical body that our souls are inhabiting during this lifetime, this is our tool to do positive and good change in the world. So a healthy body is a gift to the world. So we can do our work better when we take care of ourselves. And I like that you're thinking about, what motivates us, and getting into the mindset part of it, because that's really where it lies. That's what's going to get you out of, off of the couch, out of the chair,
Right.
putting those shoes on, deciding to make this choice over that choice. It's about what happens here. So that's a huge, huge part of it.
Yeah, it's really and thanks for saying that. But it's really, it's like, for me, even coming out here and doing this show from outside, I am just like trusting um, my myself to just kind of keep moving, because I can easily do it from the desk, do it from my home office, and just kind of, hey, this is all great, that's wonderful. But there are some moments where it's like, you know what, you need to go out and take a walk, you need to go out, you need to be out in fresh air and everything like that. And my dedication is to, it's how it's showing up for me, is that I am I am dedicated to myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am getting to a place where I'm starting to listen to what my body says that it needs, or the desires in that moment, instead of just going and I have this love-hate relationship with the nature, right? Because there's this picturesque, relationship, in the sense that I love the views, I love the blue skies and all that other kind of stuff, but I hate the bugs. So there was like this bug just like getting like very too close to me. It's
Oh,
like,
I understand. If you
so,
swat away, we'll know what you're doing.
right,
No
it's like,
judgment.
hopefully I won't run, right? So,
Yeah.
but really being in a place where I don't like talk myself out of taking care of myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, um, there was a conversation that I had, I think, a couple weeks ago, and the word was loyal. And it's like, and I realized that there was a lot of things that I was loyal to that had nothing to do with me, right? Nothing to
Hmm.
do with my benefits, or that benefits me at all. But it was just like, because I was showing up as a loyal person. I'm loyal in this relationship. I'm loyal in this, and this business. This idea, but I wasn't first loyal to myself, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the level of determination and dedication to myself to really see the change, and see like the progress, in my life, that I was saying that I wanted. And it was like very interesting to see that, like I said before, about consistency and loyal and all the things that we say that are good, but if it's not for ourselves, and it's not connected to our values and our mission and how we see our life, um, it's really for what?
I agree so much. And it sounds like that was a kind of a pivotal moment and a good realization to have. I think that so many of us, sounds like you and I are similar in that we want to give to others. We want to share, we want to be there, we want to support, we want to lift them up and help them grow. And I think so many other people are like that. And I think this important thing that is forgotten is, if we think of ourselves as like a cup of water, and if we're giving our water to all the people and we don't take some time to fill up ourselves, then we are empty and we have nothing to give. We're not in our best place.
Right.
I just finished Untamed by Glennon Doyle, and I think that's a book that I'm suggesting to everyone, no matter your age, no matter your sex or anything. I think that it's important and a really important read. And she brought up a really good point that I think is a necessary part of this conversation. Is I think we sometimes get confused with this idea of martyrdom and thinking that by being, like a martyr to our work or to our family or to our other commitments, we end up giving everything because that's like the holy grail and that's how you show you care. But what happens is that then you are left being empty and unfulfilled, and you're not dedicating time to filling up your cup and doing things that matter to you so that you are in a good place. So, and I do believe that an indirect but sometimes direct way of showing how much people mean to us and how dedicated we are to them is taking the time to fill up ourselves.
Right.
I can remember specifically, I'll use an example. My mother, growing up, couldn't bear the idea of taking time to really take care of herself, physically and through eating habits. So it was all about the children and her work. And she thought she thought she was being a good mother. And she thought, if I take time away to make some good food for myself or to exercise for myself or work on my mindset, it'll be me taking time away from my children. And I can't imagine doing that. So as a result, it affected her health. And so she's come now to this realization, and now she's taking the time to exercise. She's taking the time to eat well, doing the things that matter to her. And so she feels so much more alive. And I think that's something that can be easily lost. We think we give, everything to our work, everything to the people, everything to whatever the commitments are. But what gets lost in there is perhaps the person that matters the most. It really should be you.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
ourselves. Like that foundation, that cornerstone is what then allows us to come from a place of abundance and being able to share that.
Right. There, it's a large part of my coaching is, identity and how we see ourselves. And I have a conversation about, living beyond our labels. And a lot of my clients are women, and women solopreneurs, and everything. And so all the other labels that come with the woman label, right? Sometimes the mom, the all that other kind of stuff, and that will cause them to be, have this, commitment to this label and not themselves. And it's really, hey, I want to be a good mom. I want to be a good wife, at the expense of the individual, at the expense of your health, at the expense of your sanity, even, and so really, inviting them to not diminish those roles, those labels, but recognize that beyond all of those labels are yourself. It's yourself, and that if you take care of yourself, if there's this determination and this dedication to yourself, then you can show up fully for all those other people, those people that are important to you. And the example of the airplane, the emergency, airplane instructions.
Yes.
That it's like that's the only place really in our society that it's like okay to think of yourself first, right? Outside,
you're so right.
Outside of that, you're selfish, and or we feel selfish. Nobody's saying it, but we're saying that to ourselves, and we're losing ourselves, and we're not there for ourselves. We have all these other people around us that that have our water, to use your example, and then we're like have nothing, and then we're like pissed off. But it's like, geez, I don't got any water, right?
Yeah.
But we did it. We gave it all away, right?
Yeah. It can come to this place where we feel quite depleted. I think I love that you're talking about the idea of looking past the labels, because we all, like, I have many labels. I am so many roles to so many people.
Right.
but I also do have myself.
Right.
And that is the constant. If we think about it, life can change dramatically. I mean, we're living in a time we never anticipated ever.
Right.
And something that will be consistent is ourselves.
Right.
And dedicating the things that matter and time to those things, love, energy. When we dedicate energy towards the people and the things that are good and ourselves, I think, is it Tony Robbins says, like, where your focus goes, energy flows.
Right.
And
Yes.
so thinking about what are those things that are worthy of your time and your energy and your focus and your dedication.
Right.
Big part of that should be the self. And I think you also started to touch, and I wanted to mention whether or not we're getting external shame or guilt about taking care of ourselves, because as you mentioned, the one example where we're told in society to focus on ourselves first is the oxygen
Right.
example on the airplane. That's like the one place. But it's like you had said, it's we may not even be getting any guilt or flack from others, but it might be that we feel like, oh my gosh, I'm taking time away from my desk to go prepare this salad for myself or this wonderful roasted vegetable, rather than just like throw something in the microwave, or I'm taking time away from my family to go on this walk or to go to this workout class, or oh my gosh, I'm making time to read a book or listen to like an uplifting motivational podcast. Like we may feel guilty for these things. And
Right.
I think it's all right to initially recognize that there might be some discomfort. There might be a little bit of little push and pull internally as you start to shift and realign your priorities and the way you envision how you use your time, and knowing that it's okay. It might feel a little uncomfortable at first, but once you start to consistently dedicate to yourself, you'll realize, oh wow, I'm a better version of me.
Right.
And I'm better for myself, and I'm better for the people and the things that matter to me.
Yeah, that is. There was something. I don't know if it was on TikTok. I know I was in an app where I was scrolling, right? So I don't know which one it was.
Yeah, there are many of those.
And I try to stay out of those ones because it just seems like, geez, it's like I'm TikToking my life away. But there was a video that came up, and I don't, I can't remember the woman that was saying it. It's like, hey, I want you to think of like 3 people that are important to you, right? It's like, okay, do you have it? It's like, okay, if one of those people is not you, you need to put them on your list. And it was like,
Ooh.
oh, it's like, you got me, right?
Yeah.
And that is so, that happens so quickly, for
Yeah.
me. And it is something that my last year, my 2019, the biggest lesson that I got for myself and that I was sharing with some of my clients, because it was a hard shift that sometimes, it's like I want to care about people, right? I want to be there for people that I love, um, and and I want to say, oh, I care so much for people, but the invitation and the lesson that I got for myself last year is that I can care about people with all my heart and just continue to do that. However, I need to care about myself just a little bit more. And if I care about myself within that space of a little bit more, then it's game changer, because then I am not depleting myself.
Mm-hmm.
I still have more than enough for myself and others. And sometimes that is just really hard to really be dedicated, to really care about ourselves just a little bit more. And because too often it shows up to, I don't care about anybody. Well, that's really not the truth, right? Is that you just don't have anything else because you gave it all away, right? So you have to have that stance because you're at what I call a survival mode, that if I don't care, if I like trick my brain and say, I don't care about anybody else, then maybe I'll care about myself for a moment enough so I can survive. And so it's just really, like I said, the more that we can connect to our mission, our values, our purpose, then we can be dedicated to the things that are important to ourselves. And then it's really simple, right? It's like none of those other things that come up, that glazed donut. It's just, I don't want to say it's a distraction, but it's like, okay, I can or not, and it's fine. It's not this big, oh my God, I had a donut today, right?
Yeah.
Type of thing.
It's okay. It's having that grace with yourself and realizing like, that's all right. I still am dedicated to my goal of taking care of myself. And today it looked like me mindfully indulging in something that I was fully present. I was totally in the moment. I was enjoying it. It was not a mindless indulgence. Like I was there and I was dedicating myself to that moment of like enjoying every bit of it. And that's okay. And that's what life can look like. I totally agree. It's funny you mentioned your 2019 was a really big lesson in dedicating to yourself. And that was what my 2019 was like as well. I think you and I were taught some similar lessons. And I really did. It really kind of hit me in the face a few times pretty powerfully. And so there's been a big shift. And like you said, it was a hard shift for you. It's been a difficult shift for me, but I think that I'm coming from a better place this year.
Absolutely.
And how I'm showing up and what I'm doing. And then something, I talked about this a little bit earlier about what a lack of dedication means. And something, not to harp on the negative too much, but I think it's sometimes when we have these examples, it's a bit of a wake-up call. And so just as we don't want someone to flake on us, we don't want someone to not show up, we don't want someone to cheat in whatever way it can be. Instead, we want to be, we want to feel like people are dedicating to us. Use that same example to yourself. Just as like you wouldn't want to cheat on yourself or flake on yourself or not show up. So you can use those same ideas. You are that same person, like you said, when the person on TikTok, whatever it was, said, who are the 3 people that matter most? That one is definitely you, and you want to show up. And a way I like to use this is, I know there's a common buzzword around the term cheat meal, and people like to ask me as a trainer and nutritionist, say, what's your favorite cheat meal? And I like to just shift my mindset and rephrase that to my conscious indulgence, because I'm there, I'm conscious, I'm indulging. I know it. I'm not cheating or hiding or like sneaking stuff, because a sneaky way of living is other people don't want that, nor do you want that on yourself. Right. So when you are present, you are aware of it. I think it gives us more freedom, more love. And I'm using the word grace again, because I think it's such an important thing to think about when we are dedicating to ourselves.
Right. Oh, that is so great, because, it reminded me of all of those mindless indulgence, right?
Yeah, I've done it too. I'm human.
Then you feel terrible. It's like, oh, what was I? Yeah. It's like, where did that bag go, right?
Yeah, we don't know where it went. Like, what happened? Because we were there, but we weren't there. It's like this ghost came in and just like inhabited and like took our hand to the to whatever it was.
Who ate all these potato chips, right? It's like, there's nobody else here, right?
Oh, okay.
Just getting present, and I really I really love how grace has come up in this conversation so often, because sometimes the dedication, it's like a hard, it's like hard corners, right? It's just like,
Hmm.
so this is, you're dedicated, right? There's all this kind of stuff. But when you apply grace to dedication, wow, there's so much more power, in that. There's so much more movement. There's so much more flexibility. Um, and I think there's so many more results. You know, it's like living a life of and. It's like I'm, you
Yes.
know, versus or, right? It's like I'm
Yes.
or this. I'm this or that, and it's like so yeah. So thanks for really um, really bringing grace into this conversation, so it allows us to show up for ourselves, and flow within
Hmm.
it. Um, so because especially when we're dealing with mind shifts and um, um, moving into really stepping up fully for ourselves, there's a lot of unlearning that we have to do, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of things that I said I believe, but it's just somebody else's beliefs that I just held on dearly to, right? Um,
Absolutely.
and it's just like, geez, that's not even my belief. Let it go, right?
Yeah. Where did I get that? I've been told that, I've read it, or it's been repeated to me, and maybe it's been ingrained in me from a young age, but we as humans and adults, we have the freedom to be able to choose how we want to view that. And I think that's one of the really powerful things that I do with my clients is we're getting clear on what they really want in their lives. What are the things that matter to them, and helping them reframe that. And I really, I love that you said it's a life of and. That was something I'd filed away in my mind, is I meant to say at some point and I forgot to say it. And really, like, I was thinking that exact thing. I really was. I love that you said that, because it doesn't have to be an or situation. So as an example, I have a 4-month private coaching client, and she was talking about how she and her husband really love to make this dumpling soup, and it's quick and it's easy, and it reminds them of the husband's grandmother. But I'm going to use the term, it doesn't have a ton of nutrients in it. So
Okay.
I think that she was probably expecting me to say, like, we won't eat it, we'll have something else instead. And instead of saying that, I said, well, how about you still make it and then you add a ton of vegetables to it? It can be the dumpling soup and vegetable soup, so that there's not a life of deprivation. It can be a life of and
Wow.
adding good things that make it so that you can feel like you made a powerful decision, and it's fulfilling in the way that it connects to the the memories and the routine of making it with your spouse. It's become such something that you enjoy. So the life of and it can be like that. And I think that's also how I view fitness and nutrition and mindset. It's, to me, they're not black and white constructs. It's not
Mm.
that you are on the wagon or you're off the wagon. I will
Right.
sometimes check in with different friends, and they'll say, "Yeah, I'm being really good right now," or I'm on the wagon.
Right.
And I say, it doesn't have to be like that. We can live in this kind of black and white world, or sorry, probably this gray world, where
Right.
some days it's a little bit of a darker gray, some days it's a little
Right.
bit of a lighter gray.
Right.
And being in that middle world is a beautiful place to be, because as humans, perfection is not the goal.
Right.
It's about progress. It's about growing and realizing that there are going to be so many lessons to learn along the way, and focusing on that dedication to ourselves and to the things and the people that are important to us. That's what really, really matters.
Right.
And I could talk about this for hours. I love this topic, but dedication, I feel like it was kind of serendipitous that this was the word that came up for me in our conversation today, because it's something that is so important and is at the foundation of the things that I do for myself and in my work and for others.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, that is such a great way to to end this conversation and to really got it because I really got within that dumpling soup and adding the vegetables that there is a place that you can honor your family and the memory and honor where you are presently in your health goals, right? And your
Mm-hmm.
mindset. And so in being there. And there was like what I was thinking is like, okay, the next time I have a donut, I'll take a walk while I'm eating my donut, right?
There you
So
go.
it's like
Yeah,
just walk it off, right?
exactly.
Type of thing. But this has been great. It's been really an honor to have this conversation with you. And yeah, I can really see how you know be having that dedication to yourself is will make all the difference. And yeah, and give yourself a little bit of grace so you can like experience all of that. So thank you very
Truly.
much for being a part of this conversation.
Thank you for having me, William. I really have felt so blessed and honored to be a part of this. And I admire what you were doing. And I feel that I've made a new friend. Thank
Well,
you.
wonderful. Hey, we can always use good friends, and
Yes.
I'm great to do that. I'd love for you
Yeah.
to stick around in the group for a moment while I end the show, but this has been great.
Sure. Thank you so much, William. And to those of you who are listening, thank you so much for your time. And remember that you are worth it.
Oh, wonderful. Great. Oh boy, I think I have have done some. Sometimes when I'm out here, I'm like pushing buttons and all that other kind of stuff, and don't know what's happening. But uh, yeah, I think really how we were able to include grace within this conversation, and right, how a part of this conversation really allowed me to embrace um, what I'm dedicated to. It's not a hard thing. It's a soft thing. It's those gray areas, and the way that I can flow within my life. And the more that I embrace that, the more that I can show up fully for myself, and in my work and in my relationships. I hope this conversation, this loud conversation at some points, the beautification of my neighborhood here, um, has of value to you. I invite you to reach out to me at IamWilliamBrown.com, where you can have a complimentary coaching session so I can help you be yourself and live your life. Because the world wants you, the world needs you, and the world is waiting for you. So go be you. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you tomorrow on One Word Conversations.